Welcome to the video that covers the first country that we'll actually be talking about in exploring Africa, Liberia. Liberia, a West African country, is a very unique country in numerous aspects, and I hope you learn something new about this wonderful nation. On to some quick facts about Liberia. Liberia is a country situated on the western coast of Africa. It's bordered by three countries, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Ivory Coast. The capital city of Liberia, and also the biggest city by population, is Monrovia. The area of Liberia is 37,466 square miles, which is comparable to the area of US state Virginia. The population of Liberia is around 5.5 million people, and even though you could say that the life expectancy of Liberia is low because it's only 61.6 years, there's a bright side to it because this number is rapidly growing, like the life expectancies of various other African countries. The country gained independence from the United States in 1847, and this is unique because many other African countries gained independence from European powers, not the US. And in fact, this is the only African country to gain independence from the US. The flag colors of Liberia is red, white, and blue. Liberia's history is interesting for many reasons, and one reason is because of how Liberia became a country. Freed American slaves were brought back to Africa and settled the land called Liberia. Eventually, they gained independence, and then in 1847, Liberia became a country, and it became the first republic in Africa. Liberia is pretty well known for its similarities with the United States. Some of these similarities include government structure, flag, and constitution, which are all modeled after those of the United States. For example, the flag of Liberia, just like the United States, has red and white stripes and a star. Also, the official language of Liberia is English, and the United States dollar is accepted tender in Liberia along with the Liberian dollar. The commonalities don't stop here. Another similarity is city names resembling American things or people. For example, the capital city of Liberia, Monrovia, is named after the former president of the United States, James Monroe. When it comes to interesting places in Liberia, there are no shortages. This is because from the lush forested mountains to the long spans of beaches to the beautiful waterfalls, there's just so much that Liberia has to offer. And I'm going to talk about a few of these. So these waterfalls are known throughout Liberia for being just a beautiful place to spend some time and just have fun in the water. And through quite the adventurous road trip, you can come across these waterfalls and just spend a fun day here. And also, there's the Nimba Ranges that are a part of three countries actually. For Liberia, it's near its border with Ivory Coast and Guinea, and each of these three countries have a portion of these mountains. This mountain range is known for its biodiversity, hosting a variety of interesting animals. And in addition to this, Liberia is a part of the Upper Guinean rainforest, actually has a significant part of the Upper Guinean rainforest, which is known for its thick forest canopies and its interesting biodiversity. This beauty can be seen through a Liberian national park called the Sapa National Park, along with just a whole bunch of trees and thick canopies. There's just so much biodiversity here. So many animals, such as pygmy hippos and western chimpanzees, call this place home. And visiting here can give you a nice off the beaten track view. And also, in Liberia, you can see many beaches, most notably the Robertsport beaches. And these beaches are from the long coastline that Liberia has with the Atlantic. And these beaches are common with locals for being a nice place to relax and just have fun in the water. Yeah, and that's just a glimpse of how cool of a country Liberia is. On to the next portion of this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the positive aspects of Liberia. And in addition to this, I'm also going to be talking about some of the parts of Liberia that need help from what I've researched about the country. And keep in mind that these positives are just some of the positives, and all countries have just so many positives about them. So I just chose a handful of them so that this video wouldn't become too long. So the first positive is that Liberia has lots of potential. Under Liberian grounds is gold and iron ore, which can be sold for high amounts and could fuel the economy. In addition to this, fertile soil can grow a wide variety of plants, such as cassava plants, squash plants, tomato plants, okra plants, and just so many other plants. And if these crops are utilized properly, under Liberian grounds is gold and iron ore, which can be sold for high amounts and could fuel the economy. In addition to this, fertile soil can grow a wide variety of plants, such as cassava plants, squash plants, tomato plants, okra plants, and just so many other plants. And if these crops are utilized properly, this can really benefit the Liberian economy. The second positive out of many, but the second that we're going to be looking at in this video, is that Liberia has a lot of animals and plants and beautiful wildlife, flora and fauna. Among looking at the wildlife and plants in Liberia, you'll instantly find out that there's just so much biodiversity that no one talks about. This is because awareness hasn't been raised much to the Liberian beauty. And I feel like more people need to know that Liberia has so many lush forests, home to so many beautiful and unique animals living within them and calling it home. And the next positive is that Liberia has a very high growth rate. And this is in many positive areas. This makes Liberia have a bright future because Liberia is improving in many positive aspects. Now that we had a glimpse of the positives associated with Liberia, let's take a look at places that you could help Liberia in. So the first aspect is financially. This is because many people in Liberia live in poverty with extremely low earnings. This makes life for millions in Liberia so hard. However, with sufficient external aid, this problem can be improved at even a faster rate and make so many Liberians have a better life. This is one of the many reasons why I like raising awareness to these countries. Because how many people really know what's going on inside Liberia? People may just assume things about Liberia without fully knowing it, without people talking about Liberia and spreading the knowledge. Another issue that could be fixed in Liberia is a tough issue to fix. It's the spread of infectious diseases. And by equipping Liberia with better medical facilities, people suffering from the abundance of mosquito-related illnesses that are found in Liberia and throughout many countries in sub-Saharan Africa can get the help they need. And by giving Liberia this aid, you can help Liberians be safer from these infectious diseases that would otherwise be pretty hard to control. Another way we can help Liberia is by enhancing the educational facilities. This is because Liberia has a huge population growth rate, and by nurturing the children of Liberia, Liberia can have an even brighter future. This is because through education, you can go a long way. And by teaching the Liberian kids effectively, we can help them find career paths that can help overall improve the country. And if each of them do their part, Liberia can improve as a nation. Okay, so education is important. So now let's look at how much of Liberia is literate. Literacy is one way of measuring education effectively because it measures what percent a country's population above or at the age of 15 can read and write. So as of 2017, the literacy rate of Liberia stood at just over 48%. And if I were to predict the 2024 literacy rate of Liberia, I'd guess it's in the mid-50s. But even if it's 48 or in the mid-50s, a good literacy rate would be in the 90s. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done if we want literacy to go up. And literacy can also ensure more success for the country because through education, it's just a very important tool that can drive you very far. When talking about Liberian history, you could definitely say that there's hope because even though Liberia may be suffering from some problems now, they're rapidly improving. Like if you talk about just a few years ago in the 1980s and 90s and even early 2000s, Liberia was hit by two violent civil wars, which hit back to back and killed thousands of people and displaced even more. And then just a decade after the Second Civil War, an Ebola outbreak hit Liberia that claimed even more lives and just caused widespread panic in Liberia. And both of these events caused major issues in Liberia, leaving it as a very volatile country with volatile conditions because Liberia couldn't cope with the number of Ebola cases in 2014, and that caused a lot of Liberian losses. In the following years, Liberia made a lot of progress, and now these improvements are showing a bright side because now Liberia is becoming a better country. And even though there's so much improvement, we could still help Liberia to make its growth faster and make sure that life for Liberians gets better and better. So I hope you learned many new things about the country of Liberia, and I hope you think it's a cool country. And yeah, I just hope that Liberia will continue to grow and it'll just become a better and better country as time passes. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until the next video, this is Hope for Humanity.